Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you're watching this video from. This King of Mathematics once again. So, in my last class, talked about binary operation, and there explained all the terminologies under binary operation, talking about the definition of binary, which is the combination of or more two elements making use of symbols for their words for their combination. That's what he's talking about there. I talked about cumulative. When you say something is cumulative, I talk about when it's closed and all. You can check my part one video to know more about that. So today we'll be diving more into the questions that we might probably see either in JAMB, WAEC, or NECO that they might ask you to solve. Now, here's a question here I will be reading out, and I believe we can all see that, which says that this is taken from 1994 past question. That's question 10. If you go and check your further math series, yeah. So you see a binary operation. You can see the symbol there. That's 0 with a dash. Is defined on the set of R, that is set of real numbers, by x operation y equals to x plus y minus 2xy, where your x and y belongs to what? Belongs to R. What are they saying? Now, here are the questions, and here are the things they want you to solve. The first one is determine the identity element of R under the operation. Number two says that determine whether or not the operation or this operation is commutative. That is operation 5, is it commutative? Then C is talking about find the inverse of the general element P, where P belongs to what? To R, that is real numbers. D says that find the element of R under the operation file that has no inverse. And lastly, E says that calculate 7 minus 5 root 2, close bracket, file, that is operation 10 plus 7 root 2. That's like telling you that you want to combine in sort. So that's why I used to tell you that when you're dealing with further math, there are some topics that you have like 2, 3, 4, 5 topics embedded in them. So you have to have knowledge of one before you can apply the other. So now let's take it gradually. From the first one, which says determine the identity element. In my last class, I made known that, so let's go to A, that for you to know your identity element, the identity element is that thing that you multiply with any other number that will still give you that same thing. That is when you operate that thing on any other element, it will still give you that element. What am I saying? That is, we represent our identity element by E. So A operation, this operation now, far, A operation E should give us A. That's the law of identity element. And likewise, following what we are given, you know this X and Y. Now our A is X, our Y is E. So we can now say that also A operation E should give us, following their formula, that's A plus E minus 2AE. So if that's so, that's equation 1. This one is equation 2. If this is equal to this and this is also equal to this, I can say this is also equal to this. Therefore, A must be equal to A plus E minus 2AE. If that's it. So once you've done that, the next thing is you collect like terms. By the time you bring this one here, you have A minus A is equal to, what's common to this one? E. That's E into bracket 1 minus 2A. Having done that, what's A minus A? What's A minus A? A minus A will give you 0 is equal to E into bracket 1 minus 2A. By the time you divide both sides by 1 minus 2A, therefore E will give you 0. So the identity element for this operation is what? Is 0. So that's question A. We'll be going to B now. Now going to be, let's rub off this part. So for question B says that determine whether or not the operation is commutative. What's the meaning of being commutative? Commutative means that your x it means that your determine whether is commutative. That is, x operation y must give us y operation x. So let's check whether it's commutative. So normally we know that x operation y, we have been told that x operation y is going to give us what? X plus y minus 2xy. Now let's try, uh let's call that equation 1. Then let's try y operation x, which will give us y plus x minus 2yx. But under multiplication and under addition, x plus y, this is y plus x, I can still write it as y operation x is equal to x plus y minus yx is still the same as xy minus 2xy. So therefore, we have x operation y equals to y operation x. It is commutative. Can you see that? So that's how we solve them gradually. We are done with A and B. Let's go to the inverse. Let's go to the inverse. I want to believe you are getting the explanation gradually. What I'm doing now, I want to believe you are getting it. If there's anything that you don't understand, kindly ask question under the comment section. You can pass your comment and make sure please share to other friends so that they too can learn one or two things. Let's go to the inverse of it. Let's go to the inverse. That's the C part. So the C says that you should find the inverse. So C. Now, if you are going to find the inverse from this your identity element, that's how you can get your inverse and the law of inverse. So we are told that find the inverse of the general element P. So normally, if you are going to have we know that, let's say P operation P inverse should give us identity element normally. Then following the law, we know that P operation P inverse, because we are finding the inverse of P, will give us P plus P inverse minus 2P inverse. So therefore, we know that if this and this are the same, therefore E is equal to P plus P inverse minus 2P inverse. So that's how you go about it. But if you don't want to stress yourself from your identity element, assuming you are in an exam or whatever you get for your what's it called, from here you can just substitute. But let's go through the long way. So what's our identity element? Don't forget our identity element is 0. So I can substitute. 0 is equal to P, then what's common? P inverse plus P inverse into brackets 1 minus 2P. So we have that. I want to believe you are following me. So if that's the case, we now have, if this one comes to this other side, then I have minus P, or let me say minus P inverse. No, let's use this one. Minus P is equal to P inverse into bracket 1 minus 2P. So that means my P inverse, leaving this one at the other side, divide both sides by 1 minus 2P. That will give us P inverse is equal to minus P all over 1 minus 2P. You can put it in bracket and you can decide to leave it like that. So that is the inverse. I want to believe you are getting it. I want to believe you are getting, just look at it. Anytime you are dealing with inverse, Any element operated on its inverse will give you identity element. In multiplication now, for instance, the identity element under multiplication is 1 because 3 times 1 will give you 3, will give you back 3. 4 times 1 is that 4. Now, when you now want to talk about inverse, like now, what's going to be the inverse of 3? Inverse of 3 is 1 over 3. That is, what are you going to multiply by 3 that will give you 1, which is the identity element or under multiplication. So that's what we are, the idea we are using here. The next one is saying that find the element, we should find the element of R under the what? The operation file that has no inverse. Has no inverse. Anytime you see a question like this, when they are saying that has no inverse, that is, it means that the solution that you have for your inverse will turn to what we call sometimes calculator say unresolved, or they say um syntax error. But when you are dealing with mathematics, is what we are saying, that for it to have no inverse is for it to be undefined. That is, the denominator must be equal to what? To 0. Must give you anytime you want to have an undefined, that's when you are dividing any number by 0. Like 3 divided by 0 will give you undefined. 4 divided by, that's undefined. So that means we equate this our inverse to be equals to what? To be equals to 0. But majorly, that is what this the denominator. So let me rub this. So for D now, D for P inverse to have no inverse, then P inverse must be undefined. Therefore, 1 minus 2P must be equals to 0. So if 1 minus 2P is equal to 0, then I can say 2P is equal to, this one goes to here, equal to 1. That means P, when P is equal to 1 over 2, then this equation becomes undefined. It becomes undefined. So we are going to the E part now. E part, which says we should calculate 7 minus 5 root 2, then operation 10 plus. So this is the last question that we are solving. So if you're going to follow this, don't forget x solution, x operation y, x operation y is equal to x plus y minus 2xy. So we will now operate it. This is going to be our x, this is our y, that's our y. So we take it gradually. So let's go to the solution following this, which will give me, don't forget this x, this y. So I will now have this 7 minus 5 root 2 operation 10 plus 7 root 2 will now be equal to, what's x? 7 minus 5 root 2. Then they say plus y, that's plus 10 plus 7 root 2, close bracket, then minus 2 times into bracket 7 minus 5 root 2 bracket 10 plus 7 root 2. Then we now go into what we call expansion. Let me rub this place off because we will need it. We need this side. So we need that side. We need go into expansion. So if you open the bracket, then we have this will give us 7 plus 10 number to number. This addition, that's why I'm doing that. 7 plus 10 minus 5 root 2 You can see this 5 root 2, then this plus 7 root 2, then we still have this 2 minus 2 into bracket. Let's open the bracket. 7 times 10, that will give you 70. We are using this expansion under your quadratic expression. We know how to expand. So 7, you take this one, use it to multiply the two of them, and you take this one, use it. So 7 times 10, that will give me 70. 7 times 7 root 2, that's plus 49 root 2. Then I'll take this one again, minus 5 root 2 times 10, that's minus 50 root 2. Then minus 5 root 2 times 7 root 2. First thing you should know is when the same root multiply themselves, it will give you an whole number. Like now, okay, root 2, because this is going to be a perfect square, root 2 times root 2 will give us root 4, and root 4 will give us 2. So that's minus 5 times 7, that's minus 35. Minus 35, then times 2, that will give us minus 70. Yes, that's the expansion over there. So moving ahead, I can now open the bracket. I can continue. What is 7 plus 10? That will give me 17. Then minus 5 root 2 plus, you are owing someone 5. Then you want to pay 7, you collect a change of what? 2. So that will give you plus 2 root 2 there. Then here, let's put minus 2 into bracket, collect like terms. This is plus 70 minus 70, that will give us 0. Then plus 49 minus 50. You arrange someone 50, you want to pay 49, you still owe the person just 1. So that's what you have there. This one has cancelled this one, then you will be left with minus root 2, which you can say minus 1 root 2. Are you with me? So, but it doesn't, 1 is still obviously there. We now have 17 plus 2 root 2. Then open this bracket. When we open that bracket, that will give us minus 2 times, this is minus and minus. So minus times minus will give you plus 2 root 2. Many learners will make that mistake over here. Why? Because when they get here, what they will go and do is you say minus 2 times minus root 2, they will go and put minus 2 root 2. On the long run, this they will say you cancel it and they will get 17. No, you won't get 17 for it. So this will give you 2 root 2 plus 2 root 2, which will give us 4 root 2. That's 17 plus 4, plus 4 root 2, which will be our answer. They told us that we should leave the answer in the form of a plus b root c. So that's, or a plus b root 2, this our a, this our b. Then you have your answer. If you have any question, you could ask under the comment section. You could ask under the comment section. You know they say we should leave it as a plus b root 2. Therefore, a equals 17 and b is equal to 4. In case you are in the exam hall and they ask you to do something like that. So that's how you go about it. Well, this is where I'll be ending today's class. If you have any question, please kindly ask. And if you want me to I'll still solve some other questions on these binary operation, so that we can see different forms that they can ask question under binary. Please help me share the video, like, and on your notification. Until the next video, I say bye.